Welcome back to the Crypto's Key conversation. In today's video, we're going to take a look at some Ripple versus SC updates from James K. Fallon, and we're going to take a look at some tweet threads from Johnny Deaton and Digital Asset Investor. Digital Asset Investor had put up this video on Fox Business with Charles Gasparino that I thought was quite interesting in regards to the SEC and Chairman Gensler. We're also going to be taking a look at a couple articles from Cointelegraph. It says Binance staking completes initial phase of Terra 2.0 airdrop as ecosystem issues persists. And then coming over here, it says in the wake of Terra collapse, South Korea plans new crypto oversight committee. And then we're going to end on a digital asset investor tweet here. Coming over here, looking at the CoinGecko, we're currently sitting at a $1.37 trillion market cap. Currently not down or up. We're just kind of going sideways right now. But as you can see, we went from, what was it, 28,000, 29,000, and we're sitting at this 31,873 for Bitcoin, currently up 0.2% for the day, and over the past 7 days, up almost 10%. Coming out here in Ethereum, it's currently down 2.5% for the day. Obviously, if Bitcoin's running, alts tend to kind of have a little bit of suffering. If we come down here, XRP jumped up nice. We were sitting at like mid to high 38 cents. Now we're sitting at 42 cents. Currently up 4.57% for the past 7 days, and then almost up 1% for today. And as you can see, Cardano, this was hit Twitter. Cardano had flipped XRP, and we know if you've been following XRP and just been a part of the Twitterverse and the community, XRP community, you know that there's been some flipping and some passing here and there. Obviously, we know XRP has been highly suppressed in regards of just its position in the market, and then going under the SEC lawsuit. Coming over here to the Crypto Fear and Greed Index, we're currently up. We were just at a 10 yesterday, and we've been as low as an 8. So we're currently sitting at 16. So we're still in the extreme fear range, but there is a little bit of positivity. There has been some speculation and some conversation as to whether we are getting set up for a bull trap. Seeing a little bit of positives, may jump up to like, the mid 30s or whatnot, and then bouncing back down to where we touch that $25,000 Bitcoin level or a little bit lower. That's been a lot of the conversation that's been happening. But whether, that's right or wrong, the point is we're in this extreme fear range. There's still a lot of market uncertainty, and no one knows. No one has the answers as to what's going to happen. All right, so starting with the content here, James K. Fallon is always updating the community. I want to thank you, James, for doing that. It says breaking conference scheduled for Tuesday, June 7th, 2022 at 3 p.m. to discuss the SEC's renewed assertion of the attorney-client privilege as to internal documents related to Hinman's June 14, 2018 speech, so the Ethereum Free Pass speech. Coming out here, James K. Fallon says no call-in information was listed, and as of now, this appears to be an in-person conference only. So just some of the conversation that came about here, this is from WM Wealth Mentor. It says, let me ask Attorney Jeremy Hogan about what he thinks. And Jeremy Hogan says, I think the judge read the SEC's final brief and found it so incredible, shall we say, that she decided to bring them in person to explain the argument and create a clear record since she knows she's being appealed on her decision. Coming out here, Johnny Bravo says he's obviously thanking James or whatever, and they're talking about, is it going to be transcribed and when is it going to be released? That's all kind of a waiting game. I don't think there's any details in that regard, but just a quick update as to what's going on within the litigation right now. Coming over here, Johnny Deaton had this great tweet there here responding to Jeremy Kaufman's from, I think this is from Library Token. I think this is the CEO of Library, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So he's saying, absolutely do not under any circumstance voluntarily talk to the SEC. So we've actually showed videos on this channel with interviews with Johnny Deaton and Jeremy Kaufman from Library, because Library is undergoing an SEC lawsuit as well, just like Ripple and XRP. And the conversation was just like, it's people that are trying to be transparent and trying to do things, following the laws, following the rules, and trying to do things the right way that get scrutinized in regards to the SEC's overbearing and regulating by enforcement type stuff. So he's pretty much saying if you're an entrepreneur and you want to, excel in this space, don't voluntarily, go in and talk to the SEC, because that welcoming package that Gary Gensler and SEC talk about, come in and talk to us and let's figure this thing out. They're just gathering information to come attack you. That's what he's saying. And Johnny Dean had a great tweet right here. He says, this is coming from the guy that learned the hard way. Imagine this. Hinman and the SEC relied on and followed the Perkins-Coie memo with Hinman gave the ETH free pass speech. The SEC placed the speech on its website as guidance. Library Token or Library.com says hired Perkins-Coie to represent it. Coming out here, the Perkins-Coie lawyers and Jeremy Kaufman met with the SEC and provided them a PowerPoint presentation on how Library and the LBC token satisfied everything in the speech that indicated the token was not a security. The SEC laughed at them and said, we're going to sue you. The SEC lawyers threatened to drag the litigation out to bankrupt it. Kaufman offered to dissolve the company and sell its assets at auction. The SEC said no, pretty much said no, not good enough. Librarian Kaufman said, tell us what we did wrong. The SEC laughed at them again. And he says, hashtag true story. So if you haven't seen that interview between Johnny Deaton and Jeremy Kaufman from Library, go on Johnny Deaton's media and search and see if you can find that interview, because it's quite intriguing, like how the SEC literally just trying to steamroll them, just like they were trying to go after Ripple the same way, and they've literally just at every turn, almost in a sense, seemed like they've just been getting punched back in the face, because Ripple's making their stance. They have the capital and the smarts and the power to kind of stand their ground, knowing that they're on the right side of law, the right side of history. So it's quite interesting. Continuing on some more SEC stuff, Johnny Deaton's responding to David Schwartz here. He says, Wrapped XRP is coming to Ethereum. Great news for those that want to access XRP within Ethereum wallets, DeFi, and smart contracts. It's a multi-chain world after all. And then Johnny D says, a huge example of how and why 2013's XRP is not today's XRP. It says, the level of absurdity the SEC has reached by arguing the XRP token itself is a security is actually mind-boggling. I would never imagine lawyers at the SEC disparaging 76 years of legal precedent the way they have. For those of us that's been following this, whether you follow this channel, Johnny Deaton's, Twitter page, or Digital Asset Investor, or any of the XRP community members that make videos or put out content, that this is as he say, the absurdity that we've been dealing with. And it's quite crazy how, like, as we piece together this, Ethereum Free Pass timeline, and as we talk more and more about, the ETHgate scandal and, all the players involved, with them on video footage and them on audio and them on, text or documents and their own words, literally shooting themselves in the foot, pretty much painting the entire picture for us in regards of the backroom deals or back behind closed doors deals that they've had to, pretty much get Bitcoin and Ethereum through the door, slam the door on the rest of the crypto market, give Ethereum and Bitcoin the free pass, and in a sense for Ethereum, create a monopoly within the entire industry, which is crazy. So we are well aware of that, and that for the SEC to take this approach of, like, I think what was our chairman Gensler said something about, like, justice delayed is justice denied. Like, he was super proud about saying that, but, like, what have they been doing in the Ripple versus SC case alone? Delay, because at the end of the day, I think they truly know that, they're in hot water at this point. Ripple has a strong case against the SEC and a strong case in protecting itself. So there's just a lot of shady behavior that's been happening with the SEC, and clearly the lawsuit had decimated and wrecked the XRP community and XRP investors, and the SEC is set out to protect those said investors, which is crazy, and they're absolutely ruined investors' lives. And I've talked about it before in the channel, like, for the people that actually had to sell their assets, out of fear or out of, hey, they needed the money, because they were afraid it wasn't going to come back, or whatever the case is. That's all stemmed from the SEC and their wrongdoing. I can't wait till all this stuff surfaces and the truth really comes out. And I really hope that we do get the full picture and we do get the truth behind Disguise Wells, all parties involved in this Ethereum Free Pass speech and the ETHgate scandal, because it's truly affected hundreds of thousands of XRP investors, or just crypto investors alone. It's affected their lives, which is absolutely crazy. Moving on here, I thought this video was quite interesting. This is, I think it's Liz Clayman and Charles Gasparino on Fox Business talking about, the SEC and Chairman Gensler. It says, this from Digital Asset Investors, says, well-deserved mutiny. It says, you can say you are here to protect investors all you want, but people aren't stupid, and apparently the good people at the SEC aren't buying the BS any longer. So I'm going to play this video. It's about 3 minutes and 38 seconds. I thought it was quite interesting, and I may stop it short. We'll see. Let's just kind of take a listen into this.
Departures at the Securities and Exchange Commission have some on Wall Street saying that shines an unflattering spotlight on top cop Gary Gensler's leadership. To Charlie Gasparino.
This is about that under Gensler, and we're getting this from multiple sources inside the SEC. These are people that are staff attorneys, they work in the enforcement division and elsewhere. And it's not just the union that's chafing under him. It's the attorneys, the people that run the place are chafing. They're saying that his management style, brusque, demanding, unflinching. His workload, I mean, he's doing everything from cracking down on crypto to ESG to you name it. Has a very expansive regulatory agenda that this is leading to massive amounts of departures, even more so than in the past. We understand that 3 left today. We should point out that, so these are 3 pretty senior people. Christina Littman, head of the cyber unit. That's pretty big within the enforcement division. Jennifer Lite, associate director of enforcement, and Adam Adderton, co-chief of asset management enforcement. Again, for we understand, more than a dozen have departed since Gensler's appointment. And I'll tell you, I've covered SEC chiefs for years. I've seen really demanding ones. I've covered Arthur Levitt. I covered even Richard Breedenbach. Shows you how old I am.
Harvey Pitt.
Harvey Pitt.
Chris Cox.
Chris Cox. You just did not see this level of turnover, this level of, I don't want to work for this guy. And it's not just the top. It's pervasive. Again, he's got massive problems with the SEC union. You know, they're rebelling over all sorts of stuff involving their workload. Now he's got issues with people that are, you know, the core people at the SEC, these staff attorneys who are leaving left and right. The latest 3 we just pointed out. And again, you got to ask yourself, why under him and not under Jay Clayton? Why under him and not Mary Jo White was no wimp. Remember, she was the SEC chief under Obama. She was no one to mess with, but people weren't looking for the door.
Is unflinching bad, Charlie? Don't you need a tough person?
It's a great question. I mean, when does tough, demanding become abusive and we just don't like working for you? And you know, it's pretty clear that we're crossing the line now. It's also pretty clear that Gary Gensler probably doesn't want this to be his final job, so he's pushing a lot. He's pushing a very expansive and politicized agenda. He wants to be Treasury Secretary, and he's actually said that to people. So, you know, put all that together, these people feel like they are being whipped to get his resume in shape to take over for Janet Yellen, you know, if and when that day comes. And because the SEC is, I mean, there's no doubt that its agenda is well beyond what its usual mandate. I mean, this is an agency that generally was about, you know, catching Wall Street crooks and protecting small investors. Now we're talking about mandating ESG requirements for companies and a lot more. So I mean, this is pretty interesting stuff. If Republicans get Congress, particularly the Senate, because the Senate Banking Committee is, I think, the de facto regulator of the SEC. This whole staff turnover and his management style is going to come up. I guarantee it. They will do hearings.
Charlie, thank you very much.
So, I mean, I thought it was quite interesting just kind of hearing that take and kind of hearing Charles Gasparino's, you know, position on it. And, you know, it's kind of just food for thought. You know, I'm curious to know what you think about everything. And, you know, based off of everything we've seen within the community and how it's been affecting, you know, us XRP investors or just digital asset investors just in general. Everything that's going on with the Ripple versus SC case, library case, things that are going on in regards of the executive order, like this is all going to impact how things go forward in regards of our market and our space within the cryptocurrency space. So everything's going to make an impact. So we have to do everything in our power to make sure we educate ourselves and stand up, you know, where we have the ability to voice our opinions and to, you know, stand up and defend, you know, our market and where we're at in regards of our investments within the space, because clearly crypto digital assets is the future. So we got to do everything in our power to make sure that whenever these, you know, policymakers or whatever we have to do, we have to vote or set up a class action lawsuit like Johnny Deaton in the XRP community, whatever the case is, to fight the good fight, because we know when it comes to cryptocurrency and digital assets, especially the ones that have true utility, true use case, great teams behind them that are truly ethical and truly trying to solve a real world problem, we know we're on the right side of law, on the right side of history, and this is the future. So I'm going to end on these few things here. So we talked about this article from Cointelegraph says Binance staking completes initial phase of the Terra 2.0 airdrop as ecosystem issues persist. About 70% of the tokens are held in escrow and will be vested starting later this year. So coming down here, you can kind of read the rest of this article here, but I thought this was kind of interesting to see the 4 different, I guess, distribution things that they're kind of taking. And one of them says, pre-attack one, UST, and you got like a certain allocation of Luna, pre-attack. And then you could just kind of read through all this, especially if you are, one of those community members that's been invested in this and got decimated within the collapse of Terra Luna and UST. Coming over here, it says, in wake of Terra collapse, South Korea plans new crypto oversight committee report. The infamous collapse of Terra may have hastened the creation of a supervision and control entity for virtual assets, which is set to launch in early June. So we've been hearing more and more of this. Obviously, we have Biden's executive order action on crypto or digital assets. And then obviously with this collapse, obviously Do Kwon and them were under scrutiny. So they're developing, I guess, this task force, if you will, to kind of sit here and kind of regulate and enhance policy effectiveness by streaming the government's oversight efforts on crypto. So you can kind of read through this article as well. And obviously, we're going to see more and more regulations coming in this space, especially as the space continues to grow and adoption happens. And regardless of whether, we like it or not, there's still going to be a lot of bad actors out there. There's still going to be a lot of scams, a lot of rug pulls, a lot of just shady narratives that's going to take place within the market. It's a new emerging technology. We're currently under a $2 trillion market cap. So a lot's going to happen, and there's going to be a lot more regulations that come out. But at the end of the day, we need, regulatory clarity. At the end of the day, we need regulatory clarity within the space for this space to flourish. I don't know. I hope I'm recording here because it's not showing that I'm recording. I thought this was cool too. This digital asset investor, he says, when short Luna. So he's talking to Mike Novogratz, because Mike Novogratz was bragging about how they were short XRP, obviously with inside information per, my opinion of what I saw in regards of this Ethereum Free Pass scandal and the ETHgate scandal stuff that we've been talking about. But yeah, digital asset investor was blocked, constantly asking Mike Novogratz about certain things. And I thought that was quite interesting. I want to put that in there for sure. But, I always want to end on this. I want to try to remember to keep putting this in here. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Crypto is Key YouTube channel, and follow us at Crypto is Key 1 on Twitter. We really appreciate the support. We're going to continue to update you on stuff that's going on in the crypto industry, especially when it comes to Ripple versus SC case. But we're going to be covering everything like we have been. With all that being said, stay strong out there. Be safe.